It's the middle of winter, and for a lot of people, that means stout season. While I appreciate a stout from time to time, it's definitely not my go-to style. Today, I'm aiming to brew something a little less appropriate for the season. Quick sours catch a bad rap in some circles, and in a way, I get it. These beers are far from a traditional oak-aged sour, but there's a reason they've become so popular. I love the snappy, fruity aromas, the clean tart flavors, and the big, bold colors of quick sours. Now let's make some beer. For this beer, I'm using 75% pilsner malt and 8% each of wheat malt, flaked rice, and flaked corn. I'm shooting for a mash temperature of about 150 degrees Fahrenheit, so I have this Gigawort brew system set to 155 for mash in. The problem is, I forgot the bag. Damn it. Okay. Now that we're back on track, I should mention that I've adjusted the water profile for this beer using gypsum, calcium chloride, and a little lactic acid. While this step isn't necessarily required to make good beer, it definitely helps, especially if you want to make something great. I'm going to keep mashing this in until everything's nice and saturated, and I'll set the timer for an hour. Alright, that's enough of that. Time to yank these grains and get our boil started. I could take a sample right now and do a starch conversion test, but I've literally never had a beer fail that test, not once. So I ain't doing it. For most beer styles, I'd be kicking off a 60-minute boil at minimum. But with quick sours, this is where things get interesting. After mashing comes a step called acidification. This step involves adding lactobacillus bacteria to your beer. Over the course of a few days, the lactobacillus will produce lactic acid, which is what gives quick sours that clean, tart flavor. I'm going to bring this up to a boil and keep it there for only 5 minutes or so, just to sanitize the wort of any bacteria or yeast that might have been on the equipment, in the grains, or for whatever reason made it into the kettle. That's 5 minutes, and I'm just about ready to put this beer to bed. I've cooled down the wort to about 90 degrees and adjusted the pH to 4.5. Now I can add my lacto. To keep this beer at 90 degrees during the acidification process, I'm using this Inkbird controller and a simple heating pad. I'll keep checking the pH over the next couple days until it reaches about 3.5. Alright, it's been 5 days and I think we're looking pretty good. Anytime I do this, I always make sure to taste it as well, just to make sure that it has that tart bite that I'm looking for. And that's really the end of the quick sour process. From here on out, this is going to feel pretty normal, starting with a 60-minute boil. I've got 15 minutes left to go, so it's time for the one and only hop addition. Here's 5 grams of Azaka, 5 grams of Hallertau Blanc. And let's get that wort chiller in there now too. And just like that, we're ready to chill. Once we're cooled down and in the carboy, I'll pitch the yeast. I'm going with London Fog Ale yeast from White Labs, which prefers a fermentation temperature of about 72 degrees Fahrenheit. I still haven't really decided what I'm going to fruit this with. Sometimes I use a few pounds per gallon of fruit, and sometimes I use just fruit juice. If you have any ideas, let me know. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you again soon.